Do you believe in yourself? What's happening with your self-confidence and self-worth? This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. Today I'm going to talk to you about discovering your personal power and the power of believing in yourself. Because in today's time, what I'm witnessing are a lot of the younger people, the 20-somethings, even in the 30-somethings, where their self-worth and their self-confidence is at an all-time low. Look, I've been in a place where I had to compete just to earn a right to feel like I belong. And growing up in a very racist community, my mother taught me that if I don't prove myself, if I don't prove my intelligence especially, that people will look at me as being an animal. And that did happen. Now, not everybody treated me like that. There's only a couple of people, actually. People, it wasn't even my friends, it was their parents. They actually made my friend not hang out with me. Jerry Carrata, and I think it was Michael Lancelotti. Their parents, both Italian Americans, their parents told them not to hang out with Spencer because he's an animal. He's just an ape. He's a gook. And Jerry had to come outside and tell this to me. Like, my parents said some really horrible things about you. I don't agree with them. And, I'm just repeating what my parents said. And my father threatened to disown me if I continue to be friends with you. And what did he say? I asked. Well, you asked, so I'll tell you. And he told me, and I was like, okay, I get it. Look, I don't want to get you into trouble. I appreciate the friendship that you gave, and, you're an awesome dude. And this is when I was like 7 or 8 or 9 years old. I was in elementary school. But it was a wake-up call. My mother's right. So I became very competitive. And in doing so, impressed a lot of people and also made people jealous and made friends and enemies along the way. But I realized I was never being myself. That whatever I wanted to do, what I truly believed in, was came second to getting good grades and becoming successful and getting a degree and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't until I was older, actually in college, my first year of college, I studied architecture, which wasn't my true passion. I got into psychology, and I really wanted to understand the mind and why I was so messed up growing up. And what was wrong with me. In fact, most of us psychology majors thought that same thing. Like, did you get into it? We used to make jokes about it. But that's when I discovered, and I'm going to do the things that I enjoy doing because I enjoy doing things. It was what brings me joy. And at that time, it was partying. But the other side was just socializing with anybody and everybody. Because when I was growing up, I only hung out with skateboarders. It's the only people I felt comfortable around. But I allowed myself to just get to know all kinds of people and became somewhat of a socialite. Now, I was still young and naive, but it really opened my mind to, what, doesn't matter what you do as a hobby, it's your character. It's your character, your willingness to get along, your willingness to explore that made me like you or not. And I found that in discovering my own personal power, that what I thought was fun for me, partying and drugs and whatnot, as when I was younger, I was actually giving my power away because I didn't know how to be happy without it. I was depressed most of my life. And to deal with these bad feelings, these feelings of despair especially, I partied to create this false sense of joy and fun and happiness. But it was artificially induced. And I didn't really know who I was back then. And along the way, I've discovered myself that, what truly fulfills me is helping others heal and helping people through their transformation, going from a traumatized state to a state of inner peace, going from a place of failure to a place of success, going from a place of low self-worth and low self-esteem to a place of confidence. And in doing that, I discovered what was really important to me was my health, exercising and eating right, because I wasn't taking care of myself before that. I lived with a Native American medicine woman where I did a personal power retrieval. And this is where I discovered that my personal power resides in my integrity. Not only doing what I say I'm going to do, keeping my word, being reliable, but also just being true to myself, my own morals, what I felt was right for me, which I discovered living a healthy lifestyle, not partying, not drinking and smoking weed and whatnot back in the day. And I quit all that and started eating healthy, eating organic foods and eating more vegetables. I still ate meat. To this day, I'm not a vegetarian. I'm a type O blood, and my body likes meat and protein. But I cut down my carbs. I watched my fat intake, became more conscious of my health. I wasn't perfectly healthy. I was as healthy as I could be at that time. I feel like I'm healthier now than I was back then. But that's what cultivated personal power for me. That's standing up for myself, was really standing up for my health and my well-being and my vitality. And really living in accordance for what is healthy for me, what brings me vitality. And not only just a physical level, but a mental level. And still, I had more lessons to learn and more things to uncover, but it was the first time I really felt a sense of this is who I really am. And I don't need to compromise that for anybody. That I can trust my will and my desire to experience health above all else. And I didn't need to buy into anybody else's idea of happiness and joy. Let's go partying again. No, I don't really feel like doing that today. But Spencer, you used to be so much. Yeah, I know. You know what? I want to go on a hike, actually. You want to come with me? And I want to go on a bike ride. And I want to go for a drive in the mountains and find some place to camp and hike. And I just want to bring a bag of carrots and a container of water, and I'm just going to eat carrots. That's what I started to do. I started to change my lifestyle in accordance with my values. And the more I lived with my true values, the more confident I felt in myself. The more I believed in my desire to be healthy, because I started to see results in my own sense of well-being. And the more results I experienced, the more faith it gave me. Even to this day, I work out 4 days a week. I primarily stick to a paleo diet, and I find that works for me. Now, what works for you may be different. Maybe a ketogenic diet, maybe an all-protein, maybe a vegetarian diet. You find out what diet works for you. I take tons of supplements because even if I eat 100% vegetables, I'm still not going to get the nutrients I need. Even to this day, I still am discovering what is truly healthy for me. It's a never-ending journey. And so much is being discovered in the world of healthcare, physical health, mental health, that I found the more I stick to it, the more I feel whole, the more I feel in tune with my true self. I don't believe I was created to be fat and have diabetes and be unhealthy, to have heart disease or cancer. Most of our health problems results from an unhealthy lifestyle. Now, that's not for everybody. For some people, they're born to be hedonist, eat, drink, and be merry. And you see a real positive energy come out of them. They're not doing it to escape life. They're doing it because that's what they generally find fulfilling in their life. It's going to be different for everybody. I'm not saying a healthy lifestyle is for everybody, but for those who understand, you know what I'm talking about. Because when you give away your power, you can't be yourself. You can't be happy. And I see this in a lot of people because it's such a competitive world. They surrender their true values for the idea of success, for the idea of belonging. And I witness a degree of dissatisfaction and unfulfillment in them. They're tense. There's no joy in them. They're kind of dull. They're really serious, and there's no emotion coming out of them. They have no empathy. And there's no sense of vitality. And there's a sense of validate. They're looking for validation all the time because they don't have any real sense of self-worth within themselves. They don't believe in themselves. And you may be one of these people trying to find yourself, feeling dissatisfied, feeling unfulfilled, and you don't know why. You don't know who you are. And that's fine. It's a part of life to discover who you are, and it's a never-ending process. It's like peeling away an onion. There's layers and layers and layers to our experience until we get to our core self. And for some, that's our true nature. That's our moral spirit, the wisdom of and love of being human. But there's layers of personality, of feelings, of beliefs and values that you uncover as you begin to discover who you are. The more authentic you are to your true self, the more confident you are, the less of a people pleaser you are, the less you stop giving your power away. Because you believe in yourself, you have faith in yourself. And when you find that, nobody can take that from you. You see, your personal power is going to be living from your core values, what truly makes you happy and fulfilled. Happiness, or joy rather, and fulfillment, the sense of gratitude and pride in who you are. Not an arrogance, like I'm better than you kind of pride, but like you look back on something and you're proud of it. You're like, wow, I accomplished that, or I was good in those moments. I'm proud of that. Like when I helped my friend Shanti heal of her sexual abuse trauma, doing Chinate Song on her, which is an abdominal massage to release oppressed emotion. She had a cathartic experience. And it was the first time she opened up to anyone about her sexual abuse. And I had gone through some abuse myself, which is why she trusted me. A man, with this old woman. And later on, I heard that she passed on. She was much older than me. And she told me, she goes, for the first time in my life, I feel at peace. And thank you, Spencer, for this. And I felt truly honored. And I look back at that and wow, it was such an honor to partake of. That's something I'm proud of. That's what I mean by something you're proud of in life. What makes you proud of yourself? What's truly fulfilling and brings joy and happiness. Whatever values that is as is expressed in you, that's your personal power. And the more you put faith in that, the more confident you'll be. The more you can believe in that part of yourself, your core values. And the behavior that arises out of your core values, the lifestyle that arises out of your core values, will be an expression of who you really are. When you can believe in your core values, and it's not absolute, your values can change as you get older. Your beliefs can change. Your values can be relative to circumstance. Some people who are behind on bills, right, and then they have to value doing what they need to do to pay those bills, and not anything else. What's important to you in life can be cyclical, it can be temporary, it could be situational. But underneath all of those, you're going to find your core values. You're going to find what truly matters to you, what's truly important to you, what truly fulfills you, and what truly gives you a sense of joy. Ultimately, we human beings are going to explore what we find valuable. If you don't find it valuable, you're not going to explore it. When you find your true self-worth, when you find your core values, that's the only thing you'll begin to live by. Because you're going to find that's what truly matters in your life. That's what gives you fulfillment and freedom and joy and happiness and sustains you. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you got your physical needs, and you've got your psychological needs. Physical needs, eating, shelter, clothing, stuff of physical nature, water, heat, protection. And then your psychological needs, it's your confidence, your emotional needs, a sense of self-worth, a sense of self-esteem, a sense of mattering, and then a sense of belonging, a sense of social, value. You need to be valued by your friends and your community. You don't want to be doing things that piss people off or goes against the grain in regard to, being a criminal or causing harm to others. Most people value people who benefit their lives, not are detriment to their lives. So always be of benefit, be beneficial to your friends and your family and your community, and you'll find self-worth in that as well. They will give you feedback. Thank you very much. You're a great person. You'll hear it. You'll get reassurance. They'll invite you out. You'll get a sense of belonging. So a huge amount of self-worth comes from that. And you'll build your self-esteem because you know you're valued. And the more you are valued by others because you're living by your core values, you're going to find people who share those same values. You're going to get a sense of belonging, and those emotional needs of validation, of feeling worthy, and self-esteem are going to be cultivated in those moments. And the more you cultivate your self-worth, the more confident you'll be. The more you can believe in yourself, because ultimately you need to trust yourself. It's not at the expense of others. It's just a matter of trusting yourself, trusting your own judgment, trusting your own instincts, trusting your own reactions to know that you know what's good for you and you know what's not good for you. You know the difference. You have discernment. And the more you exercise that discernment, the more confident you'll be. This is how you develop a true sense of self-worth and self-confidence. Because when you're without confidence, without self-worth, you'll be a people pleaser. People can tell that you're a people pleaser. Nobody likes a people pleaser or a needy person. A person who's needy becomes annoying. You won't get invited out. You're the person who doesn't seem or is always the last to know. Because nobody wants a people pleaser in their life. Nobody wants a kiss ass. It's insincere. It's disingenuous. When you find your authentic self and you keep continually living by it and reinforcing that, you'll develop a sense of self-worth. You'll develop confidence. You know that you can trust yourself. You can trust your judgment. Now, on top of that, you can develop the growth mindset. Look, nobody is good at everything they do. We usually have some talent in something, and we're no talent in most of the things in life. We got to learn skills. The more skills you learn, the more valuable you'll be to the community. And you learn skills, especially job skills, where you can move up in the company or get ahead in your career or business that you're in. Negotiation skills, communication skills, learning to assert yourself, learning, developing empathy. Your emotional EQ, studies have shown this, is actually determines your level of success and how much money you make. Those with high emotional intelligence usually make a much better living than those who don't. It's a fact. So instead of doing well academically, develop your emotional intelligence. And that's going to get you farther in life than anything else. Because you can incorporate that in any avenue in life, especially leaders. Leaders have a high EQ, emotional intelligence. They're able to empathize and relate to people and understand other people's values so they can attract them to what it is that's truly important and make the work that they're doing valuable to them by tying it into what's important to their self-worth and values. This is what a leader can do. They inspire others. And it's the leaders that excel in life. It's the leaders that get the higher paid position. And you want to move up in your world. You weren't born to move down in your world. You weren't born to make less money as you get older. So this is how you do it, because it starts with believing in yourself. And that's your personal power. In my experience, even in my own life, I found trauma to be at the root of a lot of my problems. And I find this a lot in my clients too. The unintegrated emotional pain, really, there's unprocessed emotions that are suppressed that cause hesitation, that cause an incongruency in your word and your behavior. It causes a lack of commitment. It makes you back out. It makes you timid. It makes you hesitate. It makes you procrastinate. It gives you a lapse in judgment because you can't think clearly when you're getting triggered. And then you lose faith in yourself because you're constantly getting triggered, having an emotional episode. And it's hard to maintain a sense of confidence when you continually make poor judgment. So processing trauma is really about getting your personal power back. Because the trauma is created, well, maybe there have been a bad experience, but you never healed because you made poor choices along the way. Most people deal with bad feelings through drugs and alcohol, or through just suppressing them, and then they become a cold person. They have no emotional intelligence. Once you open yourself to how you really feel and what truly, because you can't discover what truly makes you feel happy if you don't feel anything at all. So developing emotional awareness is really the first step in getting your personal power back. Processing these emotions, because the brain, your psyche, wants completion and wants to find peace and resolution to these turmoil, to the emotional turmoil. And part of discovering your personal power is processing the emotional pain, to clear it out of your emotional body so you can think clearly and execute sound judgment and experience fulfillment and joy in your life. Now, this is important to you, and you want to move up in the world. This is what I do. Because you're going to experience success without emotional intelligence. You're never going to experience the ability to make sound judgment if you continually get triggered all the time. You can't make other people happy if you yourself are not happy. You follow what I'm saying? You got to discover what truly matters to you, and I can help you do that. So you can experience fulfillment, abundance, and freedom in your life. Get ahead and get to the place where you truly want to be, whether it's ahead in your career, whether it's scaling or growing your business, whether you're a salesperson who wants to network. It all starts in your mind. It's your mindset that is the core of it all. And that's what I do. I'm a transformational mindset coach to help you get empowered, find your personal power, and really live an authentic life. My contact information will be below this video. You can contact me for a complimentary discovery session so I can get to know what it is that you're looking for. What do you want to create for yourself in your life? And we can create a plan together to get you there. This is Dr. Spencer Coaches. Thank you so much for listening.